What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Sengoku Basara! So, we've already conquered most of the warring states already without much of an issue, and I think there's fewer fights in Nobunaga's campaign than the others for a very specific reason. You guys will see why here at the end. But it's down to the final two. We have basically the center of the country under our control, and the outer edges are still resisting. So, Xavi won the contest between him and Shimatsu. So we're going to be taking him on again for the third time. I'm going to be going into my final setup here with my secondary attacks. I think I'm going to stick with the one I had in the previous video with the... Let's see, what weapon do I want? I think I want to stick with the one I have. Yeah, the one with the orbs that float around, and then if your combo gets interrupted, they come back and blow up in your face, essentially. I think I'm going to stick with that for now. I really want to know how to unlock his ultimate weapon, though, which would be really nice, coming up here soon, coming up on the final battle. So, as I've said before, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the other characters throughout this Let's Play, in the anime, Nobunaga comes and basically kills off Xavi off-screen, and he's not seen again. And, you know, thankfully in the Basara movie, which is the quote-unquote Basara 3 for the continuity that they're going with, Xavi and the other Xaviists do not make an appearance, because, for one, that would mess up the continuity, even though the continuity is already screwed on its own right, and we thankfully don't have to deal with Soren, yeah, I think that's his name, the really, really obnoxious guy. Ugh, I'm not looking forward to Basara 3 for that regard. But Basara Judgin, which most people think does not exist, including myself in some cases, he is most definitely in that. So that's the only anime adaptation of Xavi that we have, is just briefly, and I don't think he even has any dialogue. He's just kind of there in the background, and Soren is sort of more in the foreground there. So yeah, I definitely like this attack. As you can see, I'm getting better with using it. It's definitely stacking up a lot of damage here, and the more your combo continues, the more of the orbs you seem to accumulate. And it doesn't really, they don't go back and, if your combo ends on its own from not hitting enough things, then obviously it won't go back and hit you, but if you get hit, and that's how your combo gets disrupted, then obviously that's when it's going to happen. So I don't know if I've mentioned this already, I probably have, but right at the beginning of the Let's Play I made the comparison to Devil Kings, and it's really strange how, I mean, amongst very strange things with Devil Kings, this, where Nobunaga is concerned, is quite strange indeed, because for some reason they decided to make him seem like the main character, and I don't know if it was trying to market off the success of Devil May Cry, but apparently they market Nobunaga as the main character, and I've even seen on people's GameFAQs walkthroughs for Devil King's version of this game, they say, oh, Devil King is basically like Dante, and I'm like, in what way is he like Dante? I mean, I can see it with the, I mean, he's a hack-and-slash character and he carries a shotgun, but I mean, how do you get Dante from this? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I really just wish they would have, and I still don't know to this day why they decided to create this fictional world and have the warlords come from all different types of fictional countries with different heritage and ethnicities, instead of just having it all be the real historical characters like it is in the next games and like it is in the Japanese version. Why not just localize it like they should have? But that being said, I do now have the original PS2 version of the original Japanese Basara, so I have this game as Devil Kings, I have it as the original Basara, and I have it on the HD collection. So I can compare all the differences, and from what I've seen, the better frame rate and graphics really does help with the gameplay a lot in... Oops, that's gonna hurt. Yep. And I'm on my back. Yeah, that really does help with the performance of this game a lot, so this HD collection is not to be taken for granted, because it really does add a lot of quality to the game. You know, sometimes with an HD collection, They'll either be glitches or there will be minor things that they will change that will ruin the original experience for you. And sometimes they'll make improvements that make it overall better, and sometimes they just kind of leave it untouched. Well, thankfully this one is relatively untouched, and I think that's one of its strongest points. Going into Basara 2, though, we will be noticing a slight difference right away, as a matter of fact, with the very opening of the game, and I'll go into that when we get to it, which will be soon enough here. Oh, Xavi and your death traps. I don't know why he has so many of these dangerous things here. It's like, yes, you guys need to stand in this hallway with the deadly spinning drill bits and just, you'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. Yes, Nobunaga's going to come walk through here single-handedly, as you expected. I'll give the man a lot of credit. He definitely got his hands dirty, both in the continuity of Basara and in real history. Yeah, I've got to fight the giant mech walker elephant thingy fortress thing that shoots arrows. And that's going to be really annoying trying to use our secondary move there that's similar to War Dance. It's going to be very difficult to use that against this thing because it's just going to randomly snipe us from halfway across the screen with those arrows, and we're not going to be able to build up our combo very well. So probably best for me to stay away from that and just kind of kill the surrounding enemies to charge at my Basara gauge, and then just go after him that way. Obviously, the same enemies are over here that call in for reinforcements, so we're going to be dealing with them first. So we're not fighting guys all day while trying to deal with this thing. Although it doesn't help to grind to build up our Basara attack, though. I've never really spammed two Basara attacks back to back. I don't know if there's like a delay or if it depletes just enough to where even though you have that secondary bar there after you've reached, I think it's level 10 or something like that, where you are able to do that. But yeah, it just, I don't know when that happens, but I've never really tried to spam it one after the other. There's never really been a good opportunity to, unless I'm fighting a boss, in which case I kind of have to wait for the boss to be vulnerable, and a lot of times they will dodge it on ultimate difficulty. I love how even though the game is failing at its draw distance right now, which it does to kind of preserve frames and make it to where it doesn't have to render all of the enemies on screen at the same time, the backgrounds are still pretty to look at, so it actually works out. Unlike in Devil Kings, where all the backgrounds are hideous and the environments are really not done very well at all. Some of the backgrounds are the same, and then a lot of the levels have been changed to look a little muddier and less detailed. Well, not less detailed, but just less colorful, I feel like. Case in point was the level that I demonstrated, which was the Maeda level. That's definitely one thing to appreciate, though, about the later Basara games, is the fact that you get to see the draw distance really shows as many enemies as it can render from a pretty decent distance. Especially Basara 4. Basara 4 is gorgeous to look at. In case I haven't commented on it before, yes, Xavi has a ninja core, because everyone has a ninja core in this game. Why not? They just put a sign up in front of the castle that says ninjas for hire, and they just show up by the dozen. I've actually managed to accumulate quite a few orbs off of those guys. Can't remember what character I was playing as when I went through this particular segment of the level, but I just got destroyed here. I think it might have been when I was test playing as Shimatsu. I went through here because obviously this is the first place you're going to go to as Shimatsu, unless you want to fight Motochika, which I don't know if you want to do that. That's the problem with playing any of those characters that start out in the very corners of the map, is you're very limited with who you're going to fight first, and you're going to often fight some really nasty opponents first. Granted, I'd rather fight Xavi than anybody else right at the beginning as Shimatsu. Get him out of the way at least. But with Itsuki, the fact that she's all the way over there at the top right corner of the map, all the way over there in the East Mountains, I would not really recommend I really don't want to fight Kenshin as my first opponent. I mean, I know it's fine inversely to be playing as Kenshin and have to fight her as your first opponent, but man, do I not want to do that as Itsuki. I actually like playing as Kenshin quite a bit because he's very fast and agile, but he just does not have good health at all. He has terrible health and terrible defense, so he's very frail, especially on ultimate difficulty. Alright, Xavi, you knew this was coming. Time to finish what we started. I'm being a lot more aggressive on him than I was in my previous attempt at this because, unfortunately, this is my second time trying this fight because the first time his secondary little automaton guys ruined it for me by just savaging me in the corner like they do. So we've really got to just kind of be aggressive and pin him down in the corner. And if I can get a good Basara attack on both of them, I can kind of just get his automatons in the collateral and then get some good health off of them. I left this entire encounter's worth of enemies on the other side of the map here. Probably shouldn't have done that. At least I'm not using the Dark Sword that is constantly draining my health if I'm not keeping a combo up. That'd make this a lot harder. I want to keep moving in case he does that spiral lunge attack, which is really dangerous. Because I don't care, like, he's going to hit you with that. He just flies clear across the screen and just piles right through you. Yeah, I really need this guy to die so I can get some more health there. See, I have a whole nother gauge right now that I could use, but I just, for some reason, didn't think to spam it again right after the first time. But we can clear out these enemies just fine and save it for when they're all clumped together like this. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like when the boss is cluttered around a bunch of enemies like that, when you use your Basara attack, it's harder for them to dodge it. Because obviously, like I said, there's a certain percentage of the likelihood for a boss to avoid your Basara attack on ultimate difficulty. And I feel like just maybe it's not a statistic thing, like maybe it's not a percentile like it is for them to evade it, but it just becomes a lot more crowded when you're doing it around other enemies, so they just have a harder time dodging. I don't want to get too carried away, though. I definitely want to preserve my health. Ooh, the shotgun actually deals a decent amount of damage to these things. Seems like Xavi gets in a loop with that attack, though. He just seems to spam it every 2 seconds. Once he gets committed to it, it's all over. He just won't stop. Alright, so we got a nice big health drop from that one. Xavi's health slowly dwindling away. All the other enemies are dead, so it's just between him and us now. And he will eventually respawn those automatons here and there. I don't think he ever stops respawning them, which is nice that we do get some additional health if we take them out, but it does make it so much harder when you have 2 or 3 enemies using the same obnoxious attacks against you. And I'm pretty sure that we can't use this as him, like playing as him. We can't use a secondary move that spawns these things in, but I could be wrong. That could be one of his powers. I just don't feel like using him to find out. I know that must seem lazy, I just don't like his character. I've tried, I don't like the way he plays at all. You'd think I'd like the guy with 2 cannons strapped to his arms, but not so much. I know I talked about how I thought that St. Francis Xavier would make a good servant in the Fate universe when I was talking about my panel. but also, it's funny that we were talking about all that stuff because I feel like they cash in all their chips as far as all the good servant ideas go for Fate with Fate Grand Order. Because Nobunaga is a servant in that now, and of course it's another gender bend, so it looks convincing enough. It looks like a lot of the fictional depictions of Nobunaga look. It's not unlike the one in this game. It's a little less over the top, and it's a little more regal looking, but it's still a little girl. There's nothing we can do about it. Not everything has to be a gender swap, Nasu. But who am I kidding? Yeah, this boss fight really is a grind. I'm thoroughly done with this guy. I'm glad that this is the last time we'll be fighting him for this Let's Play because I am getting to the point where I'm sick of fighting him. And it's funny because, as I've said before, in all my test runs as all these characters, I was rarely ever getting Xavi. I was always getting Shimatsu. And I feel like I almost never got to demonstrate that map. And I almost always got Xavi in the actual LP. But that's the LP curse, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens when you least expect it. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And if you're saying to yourself, well, that's never happened before, then you know you're doing it right. Especially if it's being recorded live or anything like that. You know you're going to have one of those, well, that's never happened before moments. Another nasty thing about Xavi's spinning attack there is he can definitely change directions while he's doing it because he homes right in on us. If we try to jump out of the way, he's going to turn in that direction. We may still be able to dodge him. It's not foolproof, but he definitely can seek us out. Okay. A character that had like 3 seconds of screen time of him being killed in the anime has been a royal pain in our ass in this game. We finally conquered him, just like we will conquer all